Hey, welcome back, everyone. It's the Leafs Fan Forum podcast. I'm your host, Mike. Today is Monday, November 26th. Thanks for listening and tuning in on YouTube and Apple Podcasts, and hopefully be spread out more soon. I appreciate all the feedback I've been getting, and please subscribe and be much appreciated as we sit here and talk about the Maple Leafs and what a good weekend it was on Saturday night. The Leafs rolled over Philly 6-0. It's good to have a no-brainer game out of the way, and we'll get into that more. As promised, I always kind of try and do some trivia. So here is today's trivia. Maybe an easy question. You guys are going to have to go back a ways for an answer to this, but I'd like to know which player has the most games played as a Toronto Maple Leaf. And we'll get to the answer at the end of this podcast. So let's get into Saturday night's game, and a bit of the storyline was both teams playing on a back-to-back game, both teams flying into Toronto late and then turning out to play their backup goalies. And a bit of a familiar name in the Philly net, Calvin Pickard. He was picked off waivers off Toronto between the preseason and the regular season startup. And also Curtis McElhinney was picked up. So Garrett Sparks was protected, and he was our backup in this game. And Calvin Pickard was in the net for Philly, and he didn't fare too well. Andreas Johnsson lit him up for a hat trick in the first period. And we also got another goal from Marleau, and we chased him from the game. Only after 6 shots, he made 2 saves. So Johnsson, though, he was flying. His feet were moving, as they like to say. And he's definitely picked up his game in the last couple of weeks. Maybe they're settling in on the fourth line, if possible, you could say that. Playing with his line mates there, Levo and Gauthier. It'll be interesting to see who stays in the lineup when we get healthy bodies back. Matthews isn't far now, and the Nylander deadline is Saturday. So there's 2 potential guys could be coming in the lineup. It's going to bump some guys. You know, who's going to be Levo? I believe Lindholm will stay in the lineup. Johnsson and Levo and Gauthier are probably the guys at risk for getting bumped, and probably Gauthier would be the first one to go. But overall, it was an amazing first period. Actually, the Phillies backup came in and stopped a partial breakaway again on Marleau, I believe, and he also stopped the Tavares breakaway. So it could have been 6-0 in the first period very easily. And Garrett Sparks, he had a good night. I don't think he was tested a whole lot. Philly didn't look too interested. Somehow their shot total got up to 31, but they're relatively easy. There was no penalties in the game, which was strange. It was a clean sheet for both sides. And there's just some weird statistics I saw. It was 35-4 in the hit count for Philly. Well, I don't really remember seeing any significant big hit in the game. But I guess those little bumps on the corner all count for the same. But overall, the Leafs seemed to get all the loose pucks, and Philly seemed disinterested and discouraged after their goalie let in some easier goals early on. So yeah, the Leafs were full credit for the win, and a very efficient game. Made it look fairly simple after they got out front. They didn't really let off. They didn't cruise along. They kept going, and as the third period kind of went along and the game was in hand, there was a bit of a cruise mode, but Philly wasn't putting up much resistance. And that's really interesting because I was looking at some statistics the other day, and the team we have the worst win percentage against is the Philadelphia Flyers. We've only managed to take in points from them in 41% of the games we play against them. So if you're a betting man over the course of history, you would say the Philly is one of the teams we struggle the most against. Also, someday I'll read off those statistics. Buffalo is in that mix too. We seem to always struggle against Buffalo. So let's move on to tonight's game. Boston rolls in town. Boston's coming off a win themselves. They got a late goal in the third period with about 3 minutes to go, and they beat the dreaded enemy, the Montreal Canadiens, the common enemy we share. It's about the only thing we share with Boston is we all don't like Montreal. They beat Montreal 3-2, and they roll into Toronto tonight for a home game with the Leafs. So expect both starters to be in, Tuukka and Freddie. And I looked through the lineup. I'm not too sure on their injury reports over there, but Char did not play on Saturday night, and I believe he'll be out of the lineup tonight. We'll see, but just be on the lookout. They'll pretty much have a pretty good lineup in. And Toronto, again, will be without Matthews, I believe. He needs a couple more full practices this week, and I think he'll be in by the weekend. So Boston is 2 points behind us in the standings. And out of nowhere, too, where's Buffalo come from? Buffalo's won 9 in a row and a surge to the top of the division, even ahead of Tampa and Toronto. They're 2 points ahead of us right now. So interesting there. This is definitely the best division with Tampa, Boston, Buffalo, and Toronto all right there. And you look across the rest of the league, there's just a couple teams that are touching in the 30-point area. Nashville comes to mind. So definitely a lot of, again, Clash of the Titans type thing of the league. Toronto versus Boston, it's always interesting and usually a great game. We didn't fare too well last time out against them, so let's hopefully get them tonight, guys. Thanks for tuning into this podcast. We'll wrap it up now with the trivia answer. The player who's played the most games with the Maple Leafs is Chief George Armstrong. Way back in the day, in the 50s and 60s. He was a long-time captain with Toronto, and one of my favorites for getting an autograph from. I've met him, and he signed for me, so it's good to see some of these statistics and trivia. I can pull up some names from the past. Maybe you guys can learn some things, and you guys that have been around for a while can dust off the cobwebs and try and remember some of these great names for the Leafs. So guys, go Leafs go against Boston. We'll do a wrap-up podcast after this game later this week, and we got some more games coming up soon. Everything's looking good. I hope you guys are having a good day. Thanks for tuning in to Leafs Fan Forum. Please, again, subscribe, download, check me out on YouTube. I appreciate all the comments, feedback. Send me any conversation or opinion about the Leafs at leafsfanforum@gmail.com, and I look forward to seeing those. Okay, we'll leave right here. Hope everyone has a good day. Take care and peace out. See you next time.